Day 10 was another great day for the hockey. It was the women's quarterfinals. Let's check it out.
Welcome everybody, and it's day 10. It was the women's quarterfinals, and what a set of quarterfinals they were. We've been joined once again by Alan. How was your day in Paris today?
I had a long lie and got up in time for the match, but really I'd spent a bit of time in the village late yesterday. I saw some of the Irish guys. I think the Irish team were heading off back home yesterday.
Okay.
And caught up with a few other people, and yeah, it was good. It was good. It's still hot, very hot. But yeah, entertaining. Really good day.
Brilliant. Pretty much sums up the day of, the hockey today. First off, before we start off, as entertainment, I didn't realize that Escape the Victory was filmed in what was the stadium before it became the hockey stadium.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great film. And didn't know it was filmed there. That's brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no, it's been around for a while.
Absolutely. So you had the first game of Australia and China.
So as I got out of my bed this morning, I was faced with Australia-China. This was always going to be a good game. Look, the statistics were the whole way through it 50-50. But China, as we all know, sneaked the victory, and a really big surprise. But maybe not if you look at the whole pattern of things and where they have been and where they're come from. It was a cracking game. There was no real sustained pressure from both teams or possession in at the start of the match. I think they were sort of sussing it out. China got an early green card, and I thought this could be an interesting one. But a really funny bit was they cut to the guy holding an umbrella over the girl that had the green card, and he was holding it over himself, and she was still in the sun. And he sort of went, "Really? Can you not even just look?" But anyway, look, Australian pressure led to some good shots. Arnott, as always, there getting a couple of shots in, and they then got a penalty corner from those shots from Arnott. Colwell had a direct hit at the goalkeeper, Ea Chow, and it was then put in by Arnott off the keeper. A really nice rebound. A bit like French for GB. She's just in there sniping away, getting a couple of goals. China then went down the other end literally minutes later, got a penalty corner, drag flick, and Mai Nang scored 1-1. That's it. And I went, this is going to be interesting.
Tight quarter.
Very tight quarter. Some great play. I think both teams were sussing each other out. Yeah. Really. And as I say, the drag flick was a cracker, really was. Quarter two, had early attacks from Australia, but they really got no finish out of it. They, both keepers not involved that much. China then got their second goal, a field goal, ball in from the right hand side, taken inside the circle. Few Australian errors. I mean, there was about 3 or 4 times that Australia could have got this ball away, and then was put in by Dan Wen. Which was really against the run of play a bit there, but China had a lot of possession after that, and really Australia could have cleared the lines a lot better, and I think they were just, I don't know, there's nearly too many people there, and
almost on top of each other.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. With 3 of them standing on the same spot, and it just bubbled about and then straight in. Saying that, Australia went down the far end, got 2 penalty corners back to back, saved, quick break, but they just lost control. The last sort of touch didn't really make it, and overall, China's defence, and as I said, both goalkeepers really didn't make saves.
No,
that, they might have touched it 1, maybe twice each, if that. And they really just didn't have to make the saves. Possession-wise, Australia 46 to China's 54. China 10 circle penetrations to Australia 7. It was tight. It was tight enough. Look, Australia then, as they have done in all their matches, really had early opportunities. They had 3 attempts on goal with with one just past the post, and that was in the first minute and a half. So it's going to sound like my report's going to sound like penalty corner.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. China, another penalty corner. The Australian player, the Chinese girl was coming in over down the baseline, and the Australian girl just took her stick out and got a penalty corner for it. It was a direct shot, saved by the player, but it came out to Jiang, and she just put it at the roof of the net.
Yes.
There was an umpire referral because as the ball came off the goalkeeper, the Chinese girl who was going for the rebound, it looked like the ball hit her in the knee. And it's nearly one of those things, oh, that ball's hit her in the knee.
Yes.
They looked at it, and it was inconclusive, and they had to go with the goal. I don't think it deviated in any way when you looked at the other angles, but that made it 3-1. And really, Australia were starting to panic. Now, it wasn't, it was just a bit of panic started to set in, and Australia started to attack. Stewart made the goalkeeper save, Arnott then missed the rebound. China, were always winning the 50-50 ball in this quarter.
Yes.
And the pressure was going on, and Australia the pressure was starting to make them make mistakes. Australia got a penalty corner. Colwell had a drag flick, but it was saved again by Zhang. And then China back down, got a penalty corner. Australia were deemed to have put it deliberately over the back line. But again, Australia defended that well. With 36 seconds to go, Australia got a penalty corner. It was a poor execution, and Australia referred it for dangerous play and didn't get it. And I think they were grasping at straws just at the last bit. But again, 22 seconds to go, they get a penalty corner, and they get a goal by Stewart. It was an own goal, but Stewart was credited for it. It just tapered out. There wasn't excitement at the end. It just didn't feel like that. Australia weren't taking their goalkeeper off. They weren't doing anything like that there. And I heard the commentators sort of going, well, Australia should have taken their player off, or a goalkeeper off, should have taken their goalkeeper off.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have made any difference, because China were putting pressure on the whole time, and it's probably why they didn't, You then had Argentina-Germany.
Yes, a very exciting match. It ended up in normal play, 1-1. So it did. So we went to another shootout. It meant that Argentina did win in the end. They got 2 of their penalty shootout goals to Germany's none. Again, on the possession stats, Germany had more of the ball, 53% for Germany, 47% for Argentina. So,
right.
But again, this is where we need our pitch graphic.
Yeah.
We do. Because again, it was probably a bit more defensive possession when you look back at it. Because actually, Argentina had 25 shots or 25 circle entries on the attack to Germany's 13. So there was quite a difference on how much extra the Argentinians were attacking. And you could see that straight into quarter one. The Argentinian pressure was just on it the whole time. And the German defending was what was keeping them in it for as long as possible. So it was a great atmosphere at this game, as always is with Argentinian supporters. There was chanting, singing, everyone was bouncing. It was great. Though, really early on, Argentina lost their referral, and I thought, this is it. This is where they've potentially snookered themselves for later on in the match, when it's a 1-1 situation and they need to refer it kind of thing. But thankfully, it didn't really have too much standings in the rest of the match, thankfully. Really good breakaway attempt after they lost the referral from Germany. But again, Argentina defended it really well. And really, that's what led into the second quarter as well. Both teams attacking plays from each, but both defending very, very well. Germany was predominantly defending more, but again, almost evening each other out. There was no major differences between them at this point. The Argentinian stick skill and control was just unbelievable to watch. How they got out of corners. If they were dribbling into the corner, they got past 2-3 German players with ease. So it was amazing to watch. And it was a really fast-paced game from both sides. Because the Argentinian dribbling and then the German pass and accuracy, it was a really quick match. And then all of a sudden, that was halftime. It was over like that. And Argentina at this point had 45% of the possession. Germany had 55%. So even enough. But again, that German percentage was still a bit more on the defensive side. Argentina had 13 circle attacks and Germany only had 7. So it probably stayed that even throughout, really. So it did. Because if you double those stats, it pretty much is how it ended the game. So it stayed that same sort of feel throughout. So going in the second half, third quarter, Germany then, I think, went, right, we're going to put the pressure on. So they put a lot more of a press on the Argentinians. The Germans got a 5-minute yellow for taking the ball away after the whistle had went. And actually the umpires, after that, there was another time about 30 seconds after this had happened that Stappenhorst did the same thing. It wasn't as drastic as what got the 5-minute yellow, but the umpires were like, right, we're stopping this. We're going to have a conversation here and going, we've just sent this person off for doing this. Let's now, you were lucky because it was just on the cusp.
Yeah.
Let's now cut this out. Again, handled really well from the umpires. Germany defended really well with their player off. Argentina didn't have an opportunity to get a clear goal or didn't look at any point that they were a player up. So that was impressive. Again, all of a sudden the quarter was done and we're into the fourth quarter. Really deep defense from Germany, which nullified the Argentinians' final pass or final shot. So again, very even still. Germany, though, were awarded a stroke, so they got the goal first. The goalkeeper took, the Argentinian goalkeeper took the player out. It was a one-on-one attempt, and she got the player instead of the ball. It was a great run. It was an overhead that set up, overhead sort of ball for the girl to run on to. It was a great setup. And then Husa from Germany scored, and at this point there was 3:29 left in the match. So it is currently 1-0 Germany with 3.5 minutes left, and straight away Argentina pulled their goalkeeper. So you could see Argentina were like, right, we need to now go for it. They got down with 1 minute 36 left. They were awarded a penalty corner, and it was scored by Gozzolini. It was scored. Gozzolini had a great flick. It was deflected then by Ginginetti. Isn't it? Yeah, Ginginetti is how I'm going to pronounce it. Straight away, as soon as they scored it, the keeper came straight back on, nullified everything, and they went, right, we'll eke this out for a shuttles. Again, however you want to call it. Similar to the India GB game, you could see, and it was made note of, that Stappenhorst and the German girls just looked a bit deflated.
It's losing it at the end, and mentally and physically, they probably crash a bit. Whereas the Argentinians are on a high.
Absolutely, and you can see it. They were exactly the same as the Indians. Just right, we're up for this. Let's do this. We're going, and it came down to, so Germany went first and missed the goal completely. Argentina then went for it, and she hit it with her back stick. So she running from 25 to the top of the D. Just a small skip bounce, only a couple of inches off the ground, but the ball slowed as she went on, so therefore it bounced up and hit the bottom of it, the back of the stick. So it was a free out, and Argentina were adamant to refer it. The rest of the team were going, please refer that, and she went over and went, no, it's hit the back of my stick. We're not wasting this.
Fair play.
Yeah, absolutely. Then again, it was a save from the next German one. Great save. Argentina then scored with a great backhand reverse. Germany's was then saved again. The Germans missed, They initially got it. She flicked it. It went into the net, but it went in about 0.3 of a second after the 8 seconds went. So it was unlucky. It was well defended by the keeper to slow the whole thing down. And then Argentina got their second goal, which was another reverse hit again. Great. And the Germans' last attempt was saved, meaning that Argentina won. It was a great game throughout. It was end to end. It was an interesting match. Yes, I know it was only 1-0. It was only 1-0 in the last quarter, but it was an interesting match to see how the two styles played against each other. Like how we said in the last episode when we were talking about the quarterfinals coming up. Argentina were definitely a more dominant attacking team compared to Germany's more defensive structured approach. And really, the commentator said it, and I understand why he said it. On paper, Germany didn't score. They got They didn't actually score. So Argentina, I think once they scored, they had the mindset of we've won this in the match almost because we were the attacking team. We've scored. Let's take that mentality into the shootouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a well structured attacking performance from Argentina. They didn't lose their heads. They didn't start dribbling all over the pitch by themselves. They did it very, very well.
It's a really interesting because you've got two very different mindsets and as you say, mentalities of play. Germany build from the back or traditionally built from the back, whereas Argentina is go, 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 go. Yeah. And it's two different styles. And as we said there, probably Germany crashed at the end, having been so close and lost it, and Argentina were the opposite really, and that did show. I mean, it did show in the run-ins.
Yeah, absolutely. Now a game that didn't need to go to run-ins was your next game, the Dutch versus GB.
Another unfortunately GB loss. Look, the whole way through this, we talked about who's going to finish fourth and who's going to play against Netherlands, and you know, it was a poison chalice in a way. People just didn't want to be doing it. Yeah. GB stepped up, but really didn't perform. The Dutch winning 3-1. Possession wise, 53-47, but circle penetrations, you can read this two ways. The Dutch 31, GB 11. 31 attempts into the circle and only getting 3 goals is one way to look at it, and then the other way is GB defending well.
True.
Look, as always, an unbelievable support for the Dutch. A very early attack and goal, aerial into the circle, finished off into hit into the sideboards by De Waard. 45 seconds. And again, you sort of went, oh no, this isn't going the right way.
Yeah.
GB put in some really good attacking play, but the Dutch throughout defended calmly and coolly, and it was obvious that they were very cool. The Dutch kept possession, and they made GB just run around and really tire themselves out. Just before the end of the quarter, GB got a penalty, or GB got a penalty corner with 34 seconds left, and it was really, the first shot was too high, and it was a free out, and that's where the first quarter went, was the Dutch just defending coolly and calmly. Second quarter, the Dutch pressure again, very early on, leading to a penalty corner which was saved. The Dutch clearly had spent a lot of time looking at how GB played, and really just they started to put this, crashing the ball into the circle, into the GB circle, where GB were miscontrolling it, couldn't stop it, and this sort of plan sort of led to a lot of penalty corners and shots on goal. GB then had a great passing play all the way up the pitch, which again led to another penalty corner from which GB scored via French, who again sniping in front of the goals. He's picked it off, a save off the goalkeeper, and she's picked up a number of goals that way.
Mm.
And it's really interesting the number of goals that are being scored off the goalkeeper. And we've talked about rebounds and different things that got there. But look, the Dutch then just put on a high press and really put GB defence under a huge amount of pressure in that second quarter. And for every GB pass, there was just something there that the Dutch were reading it, picking it up, and really they just weren't getting anywhere with it.
Yeah.
The Dutch then score just 20 seconds left. Penalty corner, Janssen flick, rebound, scramble, and Folk was there to finish it off. A nice reverse hit on the bounce into goal.
Lovely.
Yeah, very nice goal. And you know they always say just scoring before a half time or that is quite critical. It just really does knock the wind out of the team.
Yeah.
Half time, Dutch straight back in again, high press, GB defending. GB had a few attacks, but really there was no outcomes in this at all, and it did reflect a bit like the men yesterday. You know, they had a lot of play, but we're just not getting there. It just, you know, GB then started to bypass the midfield and just taking it from the back right up the pitch. But again, that didn't work. I mean, 1-4 was about the stat on that. They were just hitting it back from the defence, just bypassing the midfield, and that was it. I have to say that GB's defence in that quarter was very good and had to be really, better. Otherwise this could have turned into a cricket score.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Like the fourth quarter, a minute in, and the Dutch score their third. Verschoor dribble, shot attempt, saved by the goalkeeper, and then finished by Folk claiming her second off the rebound. The Dutch really just closed the game out. They had more time, they had more tempo, they had more pace. GB did push for shots and and went for goal, but you know it then left them exposed at the back, and really, you know, GB then brought their keeper off with about 3.5 minutes to go, and they just threw everything at it for the last 2 minutes, but just for nothing. Really, it was a poor performance by GB. The Dutch dominated throughout. GB didn't have a lot of finishing, and you know the Dutch still look like they're in third gear. I mean, they could really start to you know, whoever's going to play them in the semi-finals, you know, you got to be worried, so you do, because we were very critical of them at the start. I mean, I do remember we criticized them. They just weren't clicking. They weren't playing right. This is just a bigger plan that obviously us lowly people didn't have any knowledge of.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just they've and you could see it in a couple of times in that match. You know, every so often, you know, when they put that high press on, GB couldn't do anything.
Yeah. They were stuck.
Yeah. If they played like that for 60 minutes, other teams couldn't do anything. Equally, it would probably kill the Dutch players from that intensity. Yeah. But you're going, like, that just must be so difficult to try and play against when they are going, right, let's even go at 80% and press really hard. I don't think we'll probably ever see them at full tilt against another team who's as strong as them going full tilt. You know, one of those just head-to-head massive Titan clashes of a match. I think unless something drastic happens in a match somewhere, the maximum they'll probably ever go to is like 80% and still just sweep the floor with people.
I probably it sounds silly, but the only thing that could really beat the Dutch here is injuries, and they haven't had that. You know, they've been lucky; they've been very good, and they would have to get wiped out in the semi-finals or something like that there to lose it. But they've been very good. They've kept their players, and again, as I said earlier, they weren't what we thought. They weren't playing well, but they were probably just going through the motions, getting the results, staying fit, staying healthy. Olympic gold is what they're looking for.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You then had the last game of the day, Belgium-Spain.
Yes.
Could we just maybe fast forward a bit to the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, the fourth quarter is where it is at, clearly. I thought this could have been at the start when this game started, because it was a really early penalty corner from the Spanish, early pressure from them. I went, "Oh, this potentially could be a repeat of the men's match yesterday." Though that penalty corner they got early on, they missed it. Both teams have the early opportunities. Engelberg had a reverse strike for Belgium against the Spanish goalkeeper Perez. Great glove save. She did that a couple of times in this match. Some really strong hand deflector saves from her, which were really impressive. And really, it was good passing really through that quarter for both teams. They almost passed it past each other. They passed it, and then the final pass is what let them down. Going into the second quarter, Belgium, green card quite early on, and Spain put a good pressure on them because they were the man up. Though, again, never came to much. 5 minutes into this, Belgium girl got absolutely clattered. And at that point, everyone, commentators, refs, Belgian team thought this was a really serious injury. The way she came off, you could see she was in quite a lot of pain. And I think because it was a shoulder, so everyone went, it's dislocated or a collarbone break.
Collarbone?
Yeah, because she was tackled from behind, so she tripped. And then there was a defensive girl coming forward low, so she's hit her there and then down, and it was almost like a double hit on the shoulder. So I thought, this is quite serious, and if Belgium were to go through, this is potentially her term and over. Though whatever magic spray and tape that was used by the medics clearly worked, and she got on for the second half. Didn't have a lot of arm movement, but was on for the second half, because again, at this point it was still 0-0, and I think she was going, I need to go and do something here for the team, which is great heart. Hopefully that playing doesn't wreck her for the later matches.
Yeah.
Again, similar attack and pressure, and it was really the turnovers from both teams that were giving the opposition the ball each time. So, Belgium would have had a great passage of play, then had a turnover. Spain would have had a great passage of play. It just was that. Really, that was, first quarter was like that, second quarter was like that, and then going into the third quarter, it was very similar. Belgium came out with a strong press once again, defended well. Spain got an attack and penalty corner, which went wide, but the momentum at that point was maybe starting to go Spain's way. But again, their passing was great. There was no finish at the end. When they passed the ball between each other and moved up the pitch at pace, lovely hockey. Some really nice triangle plays up the sidelines, or passing in the midfield to the left-hand side where they got quite a lot of success. Brilliant passes of play. So it was. Fourth quarter, where it all happened. Again, green card straight away, 30 seconds in.
Yeah.
Spain put a green card, and Belgium put this really hard, high, strong press on Spain. Probably this was the most intense sort of pressure that they'd put on for the game. And Belgium scored. Yeah, Belgium scored, which came from the press. It was a team goal, great pass and play, and then Marianne got the final touch at the back post. It was a great team goal which came from that pressure. And again, just continued this pressure throughout. It led to another penalty corner with about 10 minutes left. Belgium got their second goal from it. Again, great penalty corner variation. It went to the top D, and then they played it back to the injector, who got a first-time sweep and flicked it into the net. And it was Engelberg. Great finish, so it was. Really, second goal, Belgium just tightened up, started to control the game, didn't let Spain get anywhere with their attacks really past the halfway line, final third. They stopped them quite nicely, parked the bus, as you would call it. Just lacking that final touch from Spain. I thought it was a bit late because, like I said, the second goal went in with 10 minutes left, and the Spanish didn't pull their keeper until about 3 minutes left.
They were probably a bit wary of a counter-attack.
Potentially, but Belgium were comfortable
behind the bus.
Yeah, again, that was from how I was watching the match. It's completely different standing on the sideline with pressure on you like that. It felt they could have, even if they pulled it straight after that second goal and tried something, you're 2 goals down, why not? Because there was again, the commentators made a great point. I think it was in a pro league, he said that it was 0-0 into the fourth quarter, and whichever team it was playing, I think maybe it was against Belgium, didn't start their keeper for the fourth quarter, so played with 11 outfielders from the start of the fourth quarter, just because why not?
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, it really shakes the other team up, and they actually probably try to get the ball down the far end and make more mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first referral of the game was with 30 seconds left. So again, that probably shows you there was not any opportunities from either team that really warranted using the referral. The referral from Spain was just right, we're referring it with 30 seconds left to see if we can get something out of it.
And this is why I said, is there a tactic in this of holding it as long as you can? Now, this was, I've run out of time. This is a Hail Mary, but you could actually have something that is absolutely, totally wrong, and you're out of the Olympics.
Absolutely. So I felt really sorry for the Spanish because they did everything right up until the last wee bit. They had the opportunity. They had the chances. Yes, not as many as Belgium, but they could have got something, and I think they'll be disappointed because they did play well in large chunks of the match. But I think actually Belgium showed a bit more control and confidence when they were playing, and especially in those presses and when they had the ball at the end there, defending that 2-0 lead. So yeah, it was a good game. It was a good game to finish off. It was, in my opinion, great to see Belgium get that win and go through to the semi-finals.
On the semi-finals, what's the final draw on that?
So the women's semi-finals will be played on the 7th, which is Wednesday, and the first round is Argentina, Netherlands.
Okay,
and interesting match.
Yeah, I mean, Argentina could put them under a bit of pressure with their speed, but I don't think
Argentina would have to play the best game of their lives, and
the Dutch not actually get into the ground.
Yeah, their bus breaks down or something. Could be interesting. Could be a bit like the GB game.
Yeah,
don't know how it's going to go. The really interesting semi-final is China v Belgium.
Yep,
I think it's going to be a
pick
cracker.
One. Yeah. I think. Sorry, Sam. Having watched both matches today, I would go China.
Yes.
I would go China today. Today's performance going on that China. I just think maybe Belgium might probably have a little bit more.
Yeah, Belgium. I don't know. I'll go Belgium. I'm going to go Belgium just for the sake of being different. And I did say that they were in my top 4. China was in your top 4. I'm almost sure they were.
Don't know. Can't remember.
Claim it.
I've been here too long.
Yeah, I know. 'Cause China and Belgium have, to me, both had the same arc of performance.
Mm-hmm.
They've started in somewhat okay teams throughout the years and gradually have gotten better. And to be honest, this match here in the semi-final is probably the accumulation of the hard work of both of their teams over the past, say, 2-3 Olympic cycles, maybe. It's taken them to get to this position. I think they've both done very well. It's going to be a great match to watch.
Yeah, I think so. It's to be honest, it's the one I would be more looking forward to watching. If I had to pick two matches, it's the one I want to sit down and watch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Sam, I don't think I can. I think I'm on the first one, maybe.
Swan.
Yeah.
On swanning about, what is an Olympic Village actually like? And I do believe in Paris it's split over 2 locations. So what's that all like?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very lucky. It's my 6th Olympics. From winter and summer. If you take winter games, there's always a mountain village and a city village. So in Vancouver, for example, there was a village up in Whistler, and then there was the village down in the city centre. Here in Paris, there are 2, but they're just split by the Seine. There's a bridge over it, and the key word in the Olympics, which I don't truly believe in, is legacy. Everything is there for legacy. I think there are only a few Olympics, Sydney and London, just to name 2 straight off, would have the legacy of what has been built is still there and is still being used. London's village was quite sterile. It was quite blocky. That was what the area needed. It was just blocks of apartments. Here in Paris, typically French, they've really tried to be different. It's hard to see past the flag, so every country, puts their flags up and does different bits and pieces. Brazil have a building which looks like a set of staircases. It's an ugly building, but they've put a wrap around it, which is all just very Brazilian. Lions and whatever else all the way around it. So they've tried to sort of make it a slightly better looking building. This, you've got to understand that there's about 10,000 people living in this. Like, you've got coaches, you've got everybody else. The security is just brutal. It is, you are protecting the best people in the world, and the layers of security just to get into the village is quite time consuming at times. And sometimes you can breeze in easy enough, but other times it can be very, very difficult. Look, you've got to understand, inside the village you've got supermarket, so athletes can go, and they've tried where possible to fill the shelves with noodles, rice, crisps, Mars bars, drinks, all of that sort of thing, to at least so an athlete can feel reasonably good at just being able to go and buy something. I mean, athletes can leave the village, but you wouldn't because of the security element. Now, you do see athletes walking around, but they're an athlete because they've got their accreditation, but you don't know who the athlete is. They are the sort of, you're not going to get a Rory McIlroy walking out of the village just to go and get a coffee. It's not going to happen. Not that he's in the village, but so you've got that. You've even got a post office, so you can get your photograph taken, put onto an official stamp, and there is a post office, and that tradition has been there for all I can remember. There's always been a post office, and everybody gets their Olympic postcard and the Olympic post office stamp. There's obviously a massive superstore, so they get the athletes and coaches and visitors, and I'm standing at the till buying a souvenir, and there's Chris Hoy standing beside me, buying the kids a poster. as you do, you're going, I recognise you. You know, and there's even a tattoo parlor. You know, everyone has to get their Olympic rings somewhere.
I'd say he must be
Jesus,
the most one of the greatest artists in the world. And he's like, oh, rings. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Sorry,
oh, no, ring.
We're only doing rings today.
Yeah.
You know? You've got a hairdresser, you've got a dentist, you've got a small hospital. You know, people take sick. Unfortunately, and thankfully, touch wood, there is COVID. COVID has hit, and we have it here in our hotel. There are athletes that have unfortunately been hit and with it, and you know, people come back injured and have to be seen to. So there is, and everything is 24-hour. There's small electrical cars driving around, and it's very eco-friendly. I always like to go back, and I try my hardest to get back to an Olympic host city about a year, 2 years after. Paris is easy. It's only an hour and a half. So next time I've got some work here in Paris, I'll take a look at it. London is, as I said, was quite sterile, very, very functional. They have tried to create games areas and places to relax. They've put a barbecue and Mexican area all down here in Paris, and things get there. Loads of bikes. The guys can go around, and a lot of the Australians have their own bikes. They've brought their own bikes, and the Dutch and things that get there. You go to Winter Games, very, very different. Obviously, the temperature is the big thing.
Yeah.
And, most people have, in the Winter Games, there's a lot more indoor areas because of the cold and everything else like that. Dining halls are huge. The one here in Paris is absolutely gargantuan. It is an old electrical factory, I think it is. So it is literally a factory, and they've built this huge area for all the kitchens. I mean, every single area of the world is catered for in some way. And there seems to be a fad at the minute, which they weren't there when I got there, which was this chocolate muffin. There seems to be a bit of
everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, but they just can't keep them. You know, you just can't keep them. And it's a trend. It's a social trend. So somebody's posted it, and then everybody's after it. And as soon as they're out, I mean, the athletes are just hanging around, sort of in the seats in that area, waiting for the next tray to come out, and woof, they're gone. And they're not taking one, they're taking a handful, because they're, roommates and everybody else has taken it, or they're a very heavy weight category, and they're just trying to pile stuff on. So, really interesting. As I said, I've been very, very lucky to be involved in a number of things. Personally, I prefer the Winter Games.
Right.
I really do. I just think they're a more relaxed games. These are obviously, there's Rio, you were walking around and, there's Usain Bolt, Federer and people like that.
Yes.
I feel for those athletes. I really do, because they get absolutely swamped. And they really just, I think Federer just doesn't even come into the village anymore. I mean, they'll have their own hotel. They are just bombarded as soon as they step foot. I know Bolt was very much, he tried his hardest in the early days to get a bit of the atmosphere of the place. But, I don't know. I mean, as I said, I was taking photographs, and all I did was stand there, take photographs of Bolt and the next athlete that wants to come across, and those athletes are top end athletes as well.
Yes.
So it's just phenomenal. Just one fact: the dining hall in Rio at that time was the largest single roofed building, we'll call it, in the world. It was phenomenal.
Wow, that's
gone.
Huge.
It is all gone. And as I say, legacy, Rio, there's nobody can name anything. They might have got a road and a slightly better road service out of Rio, but Rio, there's no legacy there. I think Paris have done superb. They've only had to build 2 buildings.
Unbelievable.
Now that causes its own slight problem, which is transport. There has to be a lot more trains out to here and there. I mean, it took me the guts of 2 hours to get from where I am out to the hockey, but all very, very efficient. It's
Yes.
just the time element. Whereas London, you know, Queen Elizabeth Park, you could have walked to cycling to the aquatic centre, to water polo, to the hockey. It was all condensed, and that, you know, that's where the difference is. But I have to say, you know, Paris has used its iconic buildings to. I don't think anybody's, you know, I don't think there's been an Olympics that I can remember better looking because of the you know, what is in Paris. I mean, I'm still down to see. Yep, I'm still trying to see what is at Concorde. It's very difficult to get into. I mean, the fencing in the Grand Palais, it's just
looks incredible.
It's just amazing. I got there, and the way to get into where I'm working in there is bizarre. And it's such an old building. I mean, toilets, things you got there, people don't think about it. The building's great, but actually infrastructure, toilets, everything else is outside. So they've had to make the area around Grand Palais just such a big area just to sustain, you know, catering for the spectators, spectator space and movement. Toilets, there's no running water. So the toilets there are dry toilets.
Right.
There's no water. There's no flush water. They just don't have it.
Right.
So yes, look, as I said, villages are fantastic, and it is noticeable. They brought a new rule in, so I think you've got about 36, 48 hours once your event is over to basically get out of the village.
Yes.
Where in previous times you were in for the full hog, you were in if you were a swimmer, and you were out in the first week, or you know, you were still here for all the athletics and were able to enjoy your Olympic experience. Now your Olympic experience is 24, 48, 36 hours, and you're out of here.
That's
it's disappointing.
Because again, you think of the likes of the boxers, you know, their knockout stage system. You get put out in the first round,
you're home.
You're home.
I was at an event today where I met several athletes who probably lasted 30 seconds, and they're out of here in 30 hours.
Oh, horrendous.
And like, just not a European person. I mean, it's a 16, 20 hour, maybe 25 hour trip journey home.
Oh no. Oh, devastating.
30 seconds today was the shortest an athlete had that their Olympic Games was all over in 30 seconds.
Horrendous.
Feel for them?
Oh, awful. Absolutely awful. And that's why hockey's brilliant, because it lasts right up until now.
Yes. And we're lucky. It's in for LA. It's always under a bit of pressure. I think Brisbane is after LA, so I'd say the Australians are always going to try and keep that.
Yeah.
And will maybe by that stage there will be some sort of thought or feeling on hockey fives, but we can talk about that later.
Yes, we can. See how that goes. But thank you very much, Alan. It is great insight. You have been very lucky to get to a good few, and it's always good to see those, you know, or hear about all that sort of behind the scenes and what it's actually like for us mere mortals to even dream of. So it is. But thank you very much, and as always, thank you for watching. Comment your best of your day moment below, and like and subscribe as always. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And once again, Alan, thank you for joining me.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.
Absolutely. See you later.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.